And we're back with Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, like mother, like daughter, part 14. When we left off, Jessica went to the assisted living facility and attacked Miss Cheryl, injecting her with some poison. She got caught by Stephanie and Regina. Regina beat the snot out of her. LJ confronted Marcus and beat the snot out of him, and then took him over to Miss Maria's new place so that he could get his daughter. They got the other side of the Maria, Angel, and Miss Cheryl story, and a whole lot of insight into what Jessica's motivation is, but they still don't know how she found Angela or Marcus, and the police can't find Jessica. Meanwhile, in Denver, Angela's in the bed resting, and she hears the doorbell. She checks her screen on her nightstand, and she sees that Regina's at the door. Her housekeeper, India, is getting the door, and then India announces over the intercom, as Regina's putting her robe on and getting ready to head downstairs, that Mrs. Washington has a guest, Mrs. Johnson. Angela heads downstairs. She's excited to see Regina, but she's concerned. Since the gender reveal, all of Regina's visits have been planned, so this pop-up can't be nothing good. India escorts Regina and Angela to the sitting room, and she brings them a tray with tea, cookies, fruit, Angela's morning smoothie, prenatal vitamins, and her favorite coffee, half decaf. Regina says, "Now, best friend, I got some stuff to tell you. But before I do, I just need to let you know that I knocked the Mario coins out that trifling, good-for-nothing, wide-back, funny-face, high-yellow sister of yours." Angela busts out laughing and relaxes a little. Regina tells Angela everything that happens and reassures, comforts, and consoles her, and lets her know that she's there for her and will be there for the next few days. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, Jessica wakes up in an unfamiliar place. She looks around and realizes that she's in a hotel, and an elderly white woman is wiping her forehead with a cool, wet cloth. She tries to sit up, and the woman says, "Hush now, baby, you're going to have to rest. You're going to have to lay down." Jessica asks, "What happened?" The woman says, "Well, baby, you were in a bad way. I ended up having to evacuate your womb, and you've been here for several days recovering. You're going to have to rest, take some antibiotics, eat, and get lots of fluid before you be back on your feet." Jessica looks around as a tear rolls down her eyes, and she hears a man's voice say, "Whose baby was it?" As her eyes focus, she realizes that the man sitting across the room is Bruce. She sobs, and for the first time in a long time, she actually tells the truth. "It was yours." Bruce says, "The police have been at your house. They've been in your office. They've been questioning the staff. You're going to have to get out of town. I'll put some money in your pocket and put you on my private. Just tell me where you want to go." Jessica replays the final moments in Miss Cheryl's room. Before Stephanie discovers her in the closet, she looks at him and says, "Denver." Like any other father, Marcus got an emergency petition for custody of Melissa, and Miss Brenda is being a good grandma and babysitting her grandbaby while her son is at work. On this particular day, Marcus's big sister, Marcia, decides to swing by and visit Miss Brenda. When she comes in, she sees Melissa, and she looks at Miss Brenda and says, "Why is my college roommate's daughter here?" Brielle's family has put in a missing persons report. There's flyers all over the city. There are search parties everywhere between the law firm and the hairstylist. Nobody's seen or heard from her. Everyone now knows that she never made it to the hair appointment. Regina's filling LJ in on how things are going in Denver. Angela's really worried about Miss Cheryl because she's still in a coma, but she remembers what her mother said about not being here when the baby's born. Regina lets LJ know that he needs to have a conversation with Q. LJ has done an RCA, root cause analysis, with all of his staff to find out how they missed the fact that Jessica had discovered the tail and what exactly happened the day of the incident. Later that night, LJ sits down and makes that call to Q. LJ asks Q, give it to me straight. Do I need to pull you out? Is it time for you to come home? Q says, LJ, listen, I'm good. If I even thought there was a problem, I would let you know. LJ says, man, don't make me have to tell you twice. Q says, tell me twice about what? LJ says, if Angela is in danger, Q finishes and says, everybody's in danger. LJ says, I don't know what it is with you and women in distress, but you need to find you a woman that has nothing to do with our investigations. We can't have what happened before. Q says, LJ, man, it's strictly business. If anything, I respect Angela, and now I see her as a friend, just like you and Regina. I'll take you at your word, and I'm going to trust that if you need a way out, you know what to do. Q says, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Meanwhile, Bruce Middleton is sitting down at his dining room table, sitting across from his trophy wife. He looks at her and he says, so I'm going out of town. I'm taking a private. I got to go to one of the plants. She says, what's new? He says, well, you're going to be on the manifest. She says, where are we going? He says, you're not going anywhere. I said, you're going to be on the manifest. I'm going to Denver. His wife says, and what's her name? Bruce says, her name is going to be your name. Are you following? Are you keeping up? You got wax in your ears? What's wrong with you? She says, there's no need to be rude. Just say what you're saying and I won't have to ask so many questions. Bruce says, I'm going to handle some business and a friend needs a ride. Well, why can't you just put her name on the manifest? Bruce says, because if the police ask, I'm going to say I took my wife with me on a business trip. Got it? No, I don't got it. Bruce says, 10,000. His wife says, I still don't got it. Bruce says, 15,000. His wife says, make it 20 and I got it. Stephanie's been holding visual at Miss Cheryl's bedside for days. Miss Cheryl's prognosis isn't good. Miss Cheryl's favorite nurse from the assisted living facility, Miss Diane, stops by to visit, and she tells Stephanie that she found something in the room after everyone left that the police missed. She removes the hypodermic needle in a Ziploc bag from her purse. Stephanie looks at Miss Diane and says, so my mother and my sister believe that vengeance is the Lord's. I don't. The next day, LJ plays a secret recording that he made when he and Marcus were at Maria's house for Stephanie. LJ says, so little sis, what you want me to do? I can turn this recording over to the police and she'll be arrested immediately. Stephanie says, I got it. If my mother dies, so does she.